Hello everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It is a rainy and gloomy day here in the valley, and I cannot tell you enough how much we love that. We love stormy, rainy days here, so it really is a beautiful day. I didn't expect to be here with you so soon on this topic. Today we're going to be talking about my Monoprice Select Mini Pro 3D printer. Now, I did a video about a little less than a week ago where I did the unboxing, the setup, and the first print. And I told you that I would be back in, a month, 2 months, 3 months, something like that, to give you an update on the printer. Well, I'm actually going to be posting this video almost immediately behind the unboxing video because something has come up in that less than a week, and I really needed to share it with you. So, okay, I got the printer set up, and I had some fails, but I was finally able to print this cat. Now, this cat is the test print that comes with the printer. They provide you with an SD card, it's got some files on it, and it comes with this cat file. And so I was able to actually get this to print. Now, looking at other things out in the web, it sounded like it would be a lot easier than it actually was. And I had several failed attempts at printing the cat before I finally got him to print. But I got him to print, and I was super happy and excited about that. And so I decided to try some other things. And this right here, this is the other things, okay? I think somewhere in here is another cat. There's a cat, okay? Oh, this is a little Lego skeleton that I tried and failed on. I have no idea what this circle thing was. You know, you kind of lose track of what some of these things were, but so this is what I was facing. Nothing would print. I mean, absolutely nothing. And what was happening was the printer would try to print it, but nothing would stick to the bed. So I read a lot about prints and using PLA filament and getting them to stick to your 3D printer bed. And people talked about using blue painter's tape. People talked about using Aquanet hairspray or glue sticks. Some people said rub everything down with a Scotch Brite pad. Somebody said to use rubbing alcohol. I mean, I saw every solution under the sun to get prints to stick, and I tried them all, and nothing was working. I mean, it was having fail after fail after fail, and I was getting pretty frustrated, I don't mind telling you. So I started to think about it, and I said, well, what am I doing wrong? Have I got something wrong with the printer? Is it not printing right? I was ready to shoot myself. So I decided to give up on trying to print other things that I was getting off of Thingiverse and stuff, and I decided to go all the way back to the one thing that I knew I could print, which was the cat. So, lo and behold, it printed another cat. Printed it perfectly. I was like, okay. Well, I gotta be honest with you, I was a little dejected because all I could see at that time was just me sitting here in my room all by myself, you know, wearing a weird pair of mismatched socks, printing 3D cats all day long. And I was like, well, that's not quite what I'm shooting for. So it got me to thinking, there must not be anything wrong with the printer because I can print successfully. So that must mean that all of these attempts, it must be me and the settings I'm using that are failing. So I said, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the settings that Monoprice has for the cat. and figure out how they have everything set up and see if that will work. Well, that sounds a lot easier than it actually is, because my software would not open this. I was using Monoprice, they included a copy of Cura, and I was using version 3. I want to say 3.6, and it would not open the cat. It would open the cat and print the cat, but you couldn't see any of the settings. So back to more research, and I come to find out that this model was made with a version of Cura back in the 2s, like 2.5 or something like that. And that if you wanted to see the settings, you would have to use an older version of Cura. So I went and I got the older version of Cura, downloaded it, I opened the cat, and I was able to finally see its settings. And I found a lot of stuff wrong. The first thing I noticed in the RepRap, the starting G code in the RepRap was substantially different from the cat to what I was seeing now. And one of the things it was telling it to do, it was telling the printer to do this little whole test thing over in the corner. And it was telling it to prime the nozzle and print this test swipe and all that. And all that was doing was putting a bunch of extra melted filament in the way and causing my prints to fail. So I changed the RepRap G code for the start and got rid of all of that extra superfluous stuff and put it to what I saw with the cat. Then I went over and I looked at all the parameters for the print, and I copied all those down. I looked at everything. I took a ton of screenshots and made sure I got every subsetting, and I set all my prints up so that it was doing it the exact same way as the cat. And so then I tried to do a print. Ta-da! This is called Benchy. This is a little 3D boat. And it's called Benchy because it sets a lot of benchmarks for 3D printers. A lot of the stuff that you see here is really difficult for 3D printers to print, and yet mine printed it after I changed all of that. Printed it beautifully. Benchy comes with a file that talks about all the dimensions and everything, and I took out calipers and I measured him out, and it's very accurate, it's very clean, it came out beautifully. So I knew I was onto something. So then I went and I printed out this little test pattern that's just one layer thick on top of a raft to see if it could do that, and it did that. Then I printed this little set of cubes that's got little open spaces and overhangs and steps. Came out great. And look at this. Here we go. An astronaut. A NASA astronaut. I printed this out yesterday. Printed without any trouble whatsoever. I was super excited. So what that's telling me is, as is, out of the box, using the newest version of Cura, using the newest versions, RepRap and all that stuff, is a disaster. You have to change it if you want to get printing. Because all I'm using for my build plate is the build plate they gave me with about 6 layers of Aquanet on it. That's it. And this stuff is sticking like a champ. Okay? So it was never about the build plate. It was about the settings. It was about the first layer thickness. It was about the proximity of the nozzle. It was about not having too much filament hanging out of the nozzle when it started to print and causing it to catch and break off. It's all about your settings. And now that I've got the settings right, I'm going to share them with you. And hopefully, before you know it, you'll be printing cool stuff like this. So let's take a look at Cura on my computer. Okay, so here we are on my computer, and we're going to pop open Cura. Now the first thing we're going to do is fix the RepRap. So we're going to go to the Cura Preferences pane. And see here where it says Printers, we're going to click on that. Make sure our printer is selected. Now we're going to click Machine Settings. Now here's the starting G code, and mine's already corrected, but what's going to be there is going to be wrong. It's going to talk about test swipes and all this other crap. Down in my description, I'm going to post my current G code. Copy and paste that into this window, and then close it. Then close this. Okay, so now we can get busy over here on the right-hand side. And you can see I've got it set up that I'm going to do PLA here. And I've got the profile set to fast because it's going to be the best starting point. And then I'm going to go to expert because I need to be able to see as many of the options as possible. Okay, change your layer height to 0.2. Your initial layer height to 0.3. Line width will be 0.35, as will wall line, outer wall line, inner wall line, top and bottom line width, infill line width, and support line width. Then the initial layer line width will be 100%. Okay, now we'll scroll up and we'll talk about the shell. The shell wall thickness will be 1.2. Wall line count will be 3. Outer wall wipe distance 0.2. Top surface 0. Bottom and top thickness 0.6. Top thickness 0.6. Top layers 3. Bottom thickness 0.6. Bottom layers 3. Top and bottom pattern will be lines. Bottom pattern, initial layer will be lines. Top and bottom line direction will be those little bars, whatever the heck that means. Okay, outer wall inset, 0.025. We'll leave optimize wall printing unchecked, outer before inner walls unchecked, alternate extra wall unchecked. Compensate wall overlaps checked, compensate outer wall overlaps checked, and compensate inner wall overlaps checked. Fill gaps will be everywhere. Filter out tiny gaps is checked. Print thin walls unchecked. Horizontal expansion 0. Initial layer horizontal expansion 0. Z seam alignment will be sharpest corner. Okay, seam corner, hide seam. Ignore small Z gaps unchecked. Extra skin wall count will be 1. Enable ironing unchecked. Now we're talking about the infill. The density will be 20. Infill line distance 3.5. It'll be a grid. Connect infill lines will be unchecked. Infill line directions will be those little bars again. I'm not really sure what those mean, but that's what is in the window. Infill X offset and Y offset are zeros. Infill line multiplier is 1. Infill overlap is 15. Infill overlap is 0.0525. Skin overlap percentage is 5. Skin overlap is 0.0175. Infill wipe distance 0.0875. Infill layer thickness is 0.2. Gradual infill is 0. Infill before walls is checked. Minimum infill area is 0. Infill support is unchecked. Skin removal width 1.05. Then same thing for top skin, bottom skin, skin expanded, top skin expanded, and bottom skin expanded. Maximum skin angle for expansion is 90, and minimum skin width is 0. Default printing temperature 200. Printing temperature is 195. Printing temperature for the initial layer is 200. Initial printing temperature is 185. Final printing temperature is 180. The default build plate temperature is 60. Build plate temperature is 0, and build plate temperature initial layer is 5. Flow is 100. Initial layer flow is 100. Enable retraction is checked. Retract at layer change is unchecked. Retraction distance is 10. Then the retraction speeds are all 100. Then retraction extra prime amount is 0. Retraction minimum travel is 0.7. Minimum retraction count is 90. Minimum extrusion distance is 10. Nozzle switch retraction distance is 16. Nozzle switch retraction speed is 20, as is the other two retractions. Under the speed, we've got a print speed of 40, infill speed of 40, wall speed of 20, outer wall speed of 20, inner wall speed of 40, top and bottom speed is 16, support speed is 20, support infill speed is 20, travel speed is 100, initial layer speed is 20, initial layer print speed is 20, and initial layer travel speed is 50. The maximum Z is 0, number of slower layers is 2, equalized filament is unchecked, acceleration control unchecked, top surface skin acceleration is 3000, enable jerk is unchecked. Travel, combing mode, not in skin. Retract is unchecked. Avoid printed parts is checked. Avoid supports when traveling is unchecked. Travel avoid distance is 0.625. Layer start X is 0, layer start Y is 0, Z-hop is unchecked. Cooling is checked. The fan speed is 100, regular fan speed 100, maximum fan speed is 100. The regular maximum speed threshold is 10. Initial fan speed is 0. Regular fan speed at height is 0.5. Regular fan speed at layer 3. Minimum layer time is 3. Minimum speed is 10. Lift head is unchecked. Support, I have it checked, and if you're checking it, these are the settings. Otherwise, you can leave it unchecked. Support placement everywhere. Support overhang 50. Support pattern grid. Support wall line count is 1. Support lines unchecked. Support density of 15. Support line distance is 4.6667, as is support line distance. Support Z distance is 0.1. Support top distance is 0.1. Support bottom distance is 0.1. X and Y distance is 0.7. Support distance priority, Z overrides. Minimum support X and Y distance is 0.2. Support stair step height is 0.3. Support stair step minimum is 5. Support join distance is 2. Support horizontal expansion is 0.2. Support infill layer thickness is 0.2. Gradual support is 0. Then we have all these unchecked all the way down to use towers, which is checked. And the tower diameter is 3. The minimum diameter is 3. And the tower roof angle is 65. For build plate adhesion, I'm using Raft. And Raft extra margin is 5, smoothing is 5, air gap is 0.2625. Raft top layer is 1, Raft top layer thickness is 0.2, top line width is 0.35, Raft top spacing is 0.35, middle thickness is 0.2188, middle line width is 0.7, Raft middle spacing is 0.9. Raft base thickness is 0.3063.
RAF base line width is 0.8. Baseline spacing 1.6. Print speed is 20. Fan speed is 0. These here, we don't care about.
Okay, so that's how I set up my computer, okay? I basically am using everything that they were using to print the cat. And it's working great. Everything I've wanted to print has printed, okay? It's been fantastic. I am really, really super happy about the whole thing. Now, as they say, your mileage may vary, okay? I am using a Monoprice Select Mini Pro, or version 3, the one with the auto bed leveling, okay? That should be really, really close to what the 2 is, okay, without the bed leveling. So these settings should work. Now, are they the best possible settings? Probably not. But you know what? You can't tweak this in if you can't get it to print anything at all. I'm getting you to a place, hopefully, where you can print all sorts of stuff. And you can look at it and say, I want a smaller line width. I want to make that finer. Okay? Or maybe I don't care. Maybe I want it to go a little faster, so I'm going to make it bigger. Whatever. Whatever your tune it is, you can't do it if you can't get it to print anything at all. Now you can. And I think you're going to be really, really thrilled with this. So, I'm going to actually put my RepRap code down in the comments so you can just copy and paste it in. You'll see in the computer part, you can see where I did that. All you got to do is go to my comments down below, copy it, and paste it into your version of Cura in the right place. And then just go through and follow along with me and put in all of these settings and then go make a simple test print. Try Benchy. Okay? That's what I tried. He worked fine. All right. Again, this may work, this may not. I can't promise you anything. All I know is it worked for me. It kept me sane because I was ready to just go totally nutso on this thing. All right. I hope that really helped you. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, ask any questions, make any comments, all the usual rigmarole. I'm going to go play with my printer, I think. So until the next time, have a great rainy day and be good.